what is unit testing, and we created a simple hello world program, and we created a unit test for this hello world program. So I have this, so we had this hello world class. This was a standalone Java program, and then we did some object-oriented styling to the classic hello world program. We created few variables, we created a form method, we created the instance of this class, and then we created a message, and then we created a unit test to test this hello world class. So this was very simple basic about unit testing. In the next session, we did a deep dive of JUnit. So we created first the test cases. So we said, okay, let's start following some test-driven development. So wanted to make you experience test-driven development. So we started with creating a factorial test first. We defined few test cases that, okay, factorial of 0 should be 1. Then we defined that factorial of 1 should be 1, and factorial of few examples, 5 and 6. And then we ran the test cases. Test case were failing. Initially, we were getting compilation error as well. So we were seeing the message that factorial class do not exist. So we created a dummy class. Okay. So now I'm recalling this. So dummy class is an important terminology in unit testing. Dummy class means you have just a body. Just you are using some implementation just to make it pass. Okay. So that if you need to just fix some test compilation error, you create a dummy class. So that is what is meant by dummy class. Then we wrote some fake implementation. Fake implementation is some simple implementation. So we said, okay, factorial of 0 is 1. We just wrote, okay, if input parameter is equal to 0, then it is 1. So that is called fake implementation. So you can write fake implementation of anything. Then sometimes you may have some hard-coded behavior as well. So for factorial of say 5, I could just hard-code, return 120. So that is called a stub. So stub is a hard-coded behavior. And now fourth thing is mock. Mock is something where you hard-code. It may have some expected behavior, but you use some mocking framework. And then you can program that object to return as per your expectation. And then you can verify that mock, the behavior of that particular mock. Okay, so let me explain this. So now, are you all clear with what is a unit test, right? So unit test is a test to check a unit of your code, and unit of your code is a method, and you want your test to be independent. Okay. Second thing is, now we are clear about, it is a good practice to have the test cases written and then have an implementation. And then once the test passes, you can ensure your code is bug-free, right? So how can you check your code? What is the purpose of unit test? Is to test your code. Okay. And how can you test the unit test, whether the unit test is right or wrong? Anyone? No, manually, programmatically, how can you test whether your unit test is right or not? Okay. Do not write a unit test for your unit test. The way to test your unit test is make your program fail. Okay. So introduce bug in your code and see if your test is failing. Okay. So if I say, I did that in our first session, we wrote a hello world program, and then I purposely made some, put some characters, special characters, and then the test was failing, even in the factorial also. So if your test is failing, When there is a bug, that means your unit test is correct. Okay, so now let's move on. So what we will do today, we will move ahead of the console programs will do REST API. So we'll use the Spring. And now just to save time, I've already done some implementation. So what I'm doing today is I will convert all our previous applications, which we have written in previous sessions, to a Spring REST service, a Spring-based REST service. Okay, so let me just okay. So let me show you how I converted all our implementation. So what I did was I created a new Spring project. Okay. So now here is Spring Starter project. So you have to choose a Spring Starter project, and then you can choose. You can give the name of your Spring project. Then I chose Java 8 because I just downgraded. Earlier I was using Java 10 for the examples previously, but Java 10 is right now not available for Spring. So I have used Maven, I have used Java. You can use Gradle as well, right? So Maven and Gradle, anything, whichever is convenient for you. How about you? You use mostly Maven? Yeah, so I have just chosen Maven. Android developers, they would be using Gradle. They would be more because Android in Gradle means Android development is now mostly on the Gradle. But yeah, both have equivalent functionality. So the remaining fields are there. Then I chose what all features we need. So for this is a simple web-based project. So we chose web. You may choose one more if we want to create a little bit of production life like application. So there is monitoring capabilities also available through actuator. So you may choose actuator as well. So these are the two modules you can select. Okay. Now just canceling this because I've done it. So you do finish, and what you will get is you will get a standard project structure and one application, which is the Spring application. So what you will get is this project. Then you will get this folder structure. So there is a main folder structure, and you will get this. Since the name of the class was name of the project was Hello World Service, so you will get this Hello World Service application. So this is what you will get. This is at the rate SpringBoot application. So it's like a simple console application only, except there is one annotation at the top. This makes it a SpringBoot application. This you guys would already be aware of. Now, what I did was to create a REST service, we need to create a controller. So I added a controller. Let's say Hello World controller. Okay. So Hello World controller, I just wrote this Hello World controller, a simple class, which has a method. And then this method, I just say new message. Okay. So what you do whenever you start a REST service, you start by creating a domain class. Okay. So in this case, it's a simple application. I have a domain class which is message. Okay. So if I go to this domain class, it's a simple class with I have hard coded it. So this is a stub. No, it's not the real application. It's a stub. So message equal to hello world. Yes. And I have a getter and setter as well, because in Spring we work with respect to beans. So to make any class a bean, you have to have getters and setters. So I created this, and I called this REST controller. I have added another annotation, which is get mapping, and then greetings, and then this name. Okay. So what will this do is, let me run this. Okay, so sorry, this is I need to run this main method, the class containing the main method. So now I will run this. Go here. Yeah, so now it is running. Choose this. So this is, I need to run this as a run as Java application. Yes. So now it is. It will take a second or a little more. Okay. So what happened? Document connector failed. Okay, I need to terminate it. Okay. So I terminate in other windows all my previous instances. Let me try again. Okay, now it is running. So I go to my, okay, so what I need to do is I need to say local host greetings, and then I had some name. So I can add some name, say for example, oil. So this anyway, it's a stub hard-coded behavior. So whatever parameter I'm passing, it's not taking, but it is returning a JSON, no hello world JSON. Now, you guys would be wondering from where this JSON has come, because we use the message. Yes. So in REST, by default, there is a Jackson parser. So I just need to return in my hello world controller. If you see, I'm just returning a bean, my domain object message. And Spring is taking care of converting this to JSON format. So I need not have to manually do this. Okay. Yeah, I could have returned the JSON structure as well instead of message, but that's unnecessary work. So this message class, usually you have to use this as response body. This is the annotation. If you want to make more readable code, so this will ensure that okay, we have the right header properties set in the response, and also the JSON object is returned. So this is about my dummy implementation. Now I'll make this class now real implementation. So what we do is we will create a constructor. So let's create a constructor here for this message. Public message, and constructors always say void, and then let's pass some string here. Message, and then this message. It's really super. Okay, so something. Okay, no need to provide this void. So yeah, this is our constructor. Now we can use this in the hello world implementation. So what we did was we have say hello world class. I will create a new hello world class, and then I will pass this inside this new message. Okay. Little bit we need to change our form message as well, because we need to use this name parameter which is coming. So what I'll do is I will go to this hello world implementation which we did previously. Okay. In this second part, when we are saying, we can make this take one parameter, a string name, and let me put here name. Okay, so this is done. Okay. So now coming to my Spring project, in the controller, I will pass the name. So this is my implementation, which is now complete. Okay, I see some new message in the message class. Okay, it's just saving is pending. Now if I come back here, this, okay, this is my main message. Okay, so this I can just hello. Okay, now I will rerun this. So hello world, so this is my application. So run as Java application. Okay, wait, I should stop this first. Clear this, and then I will say this. Okay, there is some error. It says okay. All the tests also we need to modify. Wherever we had the form message, put some string just to make it pass and compile. Okay, now this errors are gone. Okay, yes. So one question no one asked, okay, I had the previous project, which was a simple project. Now then I created another SpringBoot project. How I am able to use the previous project in this newest SpringBoot project? Yes, correct. So the dependency I have added here. So this I didn't explain, I missed telling you, but yes. No, when I added the class, then I said fix project dependencies, and then I added the dependencies. So now if I run this, so you see this hello OYO is coming. Okay. So this is now your real implementation. Okay. Same way, no, I have created a factorial controller. Okay. And in the factorial controller, I have taken number, and I have a domain object result. Okay. And then in this result, I have a getter and setter. So, okay, I can explain you, this is your factorial. So now I'm not going through more detail of this, but when I call this factorial method, so this is another REST API which I have. Say I want to call factorial of 7, so it will give me the factorial of 7. Yes. Okay. So this is how, we develop a REST API. So here you see, no, I need not have to test these factorial method. I've already created the unit test for that. So I've separated it out in a simple Java project. I'm just using it. But what if you just want to use this service and test them? So how to write Spring unit tests? So let's now go to how to write Spring unit tests. So I'll show you here. So what I have done is, you say create new class here. Okay. So in the project structure, you will automatically get src test in Java folder. So you can create a new test class. So for your Spring class, Spring. So here, if you see hello world service application test, and in that, like we created in factorial class, I have added few methods. So here, no, one way is, okay, to test this is I can call the REST service. Okay. In Spring, also it's very easy. Within one line, you can call a REST service. But here, what I am showing, I'm not calling the actual REST service. As you know, this REST service is an expensive service, and they charge, say, $1 per call. Or if server is down, you don't want to really make a hit to another external server and just want to test something locally. No, so how you do is you create a mock. So here, factorial, then I have created a mock, okay, and then I have passed a factorial class implementation inside it. Yes. So this was my REST service. Okay, so I can put, say, 5 here. I get the factorial of 5. This is pretty quick. I have 3. I will get the factorial of 3. And then I need to test this. So there are two ways. One is to write an integration test. So to write an integration test, you really need to call the REST API and then see the JSON value return, and you can compare. That, okay, the result is matching with the expected result. Yes. So here I'm doing this testing of the REST API manually. So the drawback of this is you are dependent on this service, and if it is taking, say, some time, if the service is taking 1 second to respond, and I have, say, 10-15 tests, the test will execute slow. And if it is charging some money, then I have to pay that also. So most of the services, if commercial services are there, which may not be free to use, but still you would like to develop test cases and verify your code. So here mocking comes to rescue. So here, if you see, I have mocked this factorial class. Now we would like to mock the behavior. I could have used any name here. This is my object name. What is important here is I have used this mock. Mock is a class which is a static method from the Mockito framework. Okay. So now your Spring STS, when you create this new mock object, it will automatically it will automatically understand that you want to use Mockito, and it will automatically add the POM files required for having the Mockito framework in your code. So now, in addition to creating a unit test, what you need to do, if you are doing through some other ID, like you are using testmate, then you have to manually update the POM file accordingly. But if you are using STS, the Spring tool suite, then POM XML modification for Mockito will be done automatically for you. We need not have to worry. So otherwise, what you need to do is you need to add this Maven dependency for Mockito. Okay, so for Okay. Yes. In this. Yes. In the. Yeah. This Mockito version 2.15. See. So this is automatically updated. So you need not have to manually do this. But yeah, in case you want to check what is the version Mockito, you can do that. Now coming back to our test. So now what I have passed factorial class. So a mock of this factorial class is created. Now in the setup, I'm setting the behavior. I'm saying, no, this is similar to how your specification is. We say, okay, when this object is called, and I'm calling calculate factorial of 5, then return 120, right? So I'm just setting up the behavior. Now, if I say return 100, it will return 100 when we fire this calculate factorial 5 method. Yes. So now same I did for factorial 6. It is returning 720. Okay. Now when I run this assertions, yes. Okay. Now the test case is failing. You see, whatever I tell this, so I said, okay, return 100. No? So it is failing because I have here in assertion expected value 120 and it is returning 100, right? So just I'm making this purposely fail to see whether my test case is really right or not. Now when I update this to 120, okay, and rerun this test case, yeah, it should pass now. So this test case is passing. Now the good thing is, okay, just to prove that this is not calling my actual factorial method, it is just calling this. I have this code coverage. So if you see here, my actual method is not called. What is called is just the mock. Yeah. Yeah. So this is code coverage is 0. Now what is being called is the mock object, and whatever I have set, this testing of the result, calculate factorial of 5 has been done through the mock object. Yeah, so this is about mocking. And now you can explore on your own more features of mocking. You can count how many times a particular method has been called. So there are various other methods, but most commonly used method is this. When method, if I have more methods of my factorial class, then I can also define when I will call this particular method, then return that. Similarly, you can define, okay, if you want to throw some exception, then exception throwing can also be done. Okay. So this is about mocking, and any questions on this? So this is all I had for today. Yes. Any queries, questions? Clear? Okay, so it's as simple as just creating a mock object, setting the behavior when, and then the remaining assertions are same as any other real object test.